of course, the weather and the growing season was intense, and very different, So we started with a very hot and humid spring, a little bit like 18, and so with a high pressure of mildew, and but we didn't see any damages on grapes, and but we saw that the quantity of bunches was lower than what we got in 19, for example. So we knew that probably the yield would be a little bit lower than in 19. And then after the blooming that took place very early, so it was between the 20th and the 25th of May. So means that it's between 10 and 15 days in advance. And then after June 20 until August 10th, we didn't have any water, so no rain, a very intense drought. So I think we never seen that during 50 days, no rain. It's really strange. And then after, so it was 13 August, a big heavy rain, 80 millimeters. And of course, it was good for the vines, but at the same time, I think it was too violent that the water was not available for the vines. I think a lot of water went away from the blocks, and but of course, it was very good to for the ripening process to progress and to continue. And then end of August and month of September, again, beautiful weather, just 14 millimeters in September, so just a few rain, and so it was wonderful conditions for the picking that took place between September 10th and September 30th, so just the end of the month, and we were happy to finish at the end of the month, because then it was very cold and humid, and we saw that the ripening, of course, couldn't go further. It was just the end of the summer, and so, but everything was ripe on time, so we didn't hesitate to pick during that time, and it was wonderful. And I think even we don't talk about the COVID. I think it's something that we forgot, because we put an organization and everything was very smooth, and so nobody was affected by the disease, and so now we are so happy that we have made a wonderful vintage, and even with the pressure of the COVID, but no, I think the grapes didn't see the disease at all, and so it's. We finished the harvest in very good conditions, and then the surprise with the yield. So the yield was 36 hectoliters. So we are happy, because this is the average of the appellation. So it's not, but of course it's a little bit lower of what we expected. Mm-hmm. And then the second surprise, better surprise, is the concentration of the grapes, of the berries. Because we saw immediately that the alcohol level would be a little bit lower than in 18 and 19, and so we expected a lower concentration of the wines, and actually it's not the case. The skins were very, very rich in phenolics, and so even with a lower level of alcohol, the extraction was very big, intense. And so we've made a wine that has a concentration of 18, but with a lower level of alcohol. So it's something, and maybe more freshness. So it's something in between 18 and 19, even if it's none of them. It's, of course, difficult. Now, I think the vintages in Bordeaux are changing, and so it's very difficult to find another vintage like that. I think each new vintage seems unique, and so maybe in 10 years we will see more precisely and how to put all these vintages on the line, and just to decide. But we are very happy, and yes, with the balance, and everything is in place. I think the perfume, the texture, the length, the freshness.
So how are you gonna decide which of the three you like best?
No, today, honestly, yeah, it's impossible. Last year, I said, okay, I think 19 is more charming and approachable and so velvety. And so I said, okay, 19 is probably, yeah, en primeur, I prefer 19 than 18 for sure. When we taste 18 now, after the bottling, I can hesitate because 18 after the aging was so good for the 18. So the 18 maybe will be, I'm sure, at the same level of 19, but 19, yes, had more charm. And then this one, I think as so the entrance, the beginning of the tasting is very charming because it's very velvety and silky. But then in the middle palate and the end, we see that the wine is very tight and strong and not as supple as a 19 maybe. So so maybe 20 is more impressive than a 19, and 19 had more charm than now. Of course, yeah, en primeur.
And also, it's very again very aromatic. The 2020, lots of aromas, and not just fruit.
Yeah.
You know, like this one has
it's
grape.
A lot of flowers.
Yeah, flowers, dried flowers.
Yeah. And flowers also, you know, peony or violet, and I think it's more, it's very complex. And something else about the vintage, and for Chateau Margaux, the average quality is higher than what we got the last 2 years. And so we made a little bit more of Pavillon Rouge in percentage and of the Sango wine as well. So I think it's a very good result for us to be able to make to put more wine in bottles in general. And I hope that it will be the case in the future. But I think the water stress was a little bit lower than what we got in 18 and 19. Mm-hmm. And so I think the quality of the young vines, especially, the quality of the Merlot as well, probably is better in 20 compared to 18 and 19 when we had such a strong water stress.
The Pavillon Rouge, what's pretty amazing about it, it's already, you almost want to drink it already. No, you taste it and you're like, what? Really, I want to drink it right now. Beautiful balance.
Yes, yeah, because the tannins are very integrated, and so the impression is just softness, and but then the wine, of course, is very strong, but I agree, it's the wines are drinkable. Yes.
Is the did you do an analysis of the concentration of tannins? The what is it? ETP, the ITP. Is it very high in phenolics?
Yes, phenolics. So the two wines, Pavillon Rouge and Chateau Margaux, have this indicator is 80. So I don't know if you remember in 18 it was the maximum we ever made. So it was 82 and 83, and in 20 it's 80. So it's very close to what we got in 18, and 19, for example, was 75.
Ah, that's really interesting.
So in terms of phenolics, yes, we are close to 18. And so it's higher than what we got in 19. Yeah.
Because I found the wines a little bit more, in general for Bordeaux, the wines I've tasted in 20 are a little bit higher. They're a little bit more chewy, the tannins, but not in a bad sense. The tannins are very polished.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the Pavillon Rouge is really beautiful. Let's try the Grand Vin. So you said the production was pretty normal for the Grand Vin?
Production, no, because the yield is lower. It's 36 hectoliters per hectare is a low yield. So, and so of course we will be, compared to 19, we will have a much lower quantity of cases, probably minus 30% compared to 19. A little bit more than 18, but so it will be a big decrease of in quantity.
I think that, so on the difference, on Pavillon Rouge, are some of the wines coming from a different part of Margaux? because the Grand Vin has a much more floral character to it than, let's say, the Pavillon Rouge.
Yeah, but I would, yes, of course, because it's a selection. So the wines are selected, and of course, when we taste the wines, each wine comes from a specific block. So at the end, of course, we have some blocks making Pavillon Rouge and some others going into a Chateau Margaux blend, but it's not decided before the tasting. So we don't have a specific vineyard for Pavillon Rouge. No, the answer is no. But then if we see which blocks make Pavillon Rouge, which blocks make Chateau Margaux, we can see that 80%, 90% are many times the same, of course. But again, we don't decide. Every vintage we start, and I tell the team, okay, I want to make Chateau Margaux everywhere. So I don't want to, to hear that this block will make a second wine. No, all the blocks are for Chateau Margaux, okay? And to me, it's very important because I think it's the best way to make the best Pavillon Rouge possible. So I don't like the idea that we would have a specific blocks for the second or for the third wine. I think it's, no, to me, I cannot accept that.
That's a good philosophy. Also, it probably makes sense business-wise too. If that's the goal, you may not reach it, but that should be the goal, that everything is such incredible high quality that it's all Margaux. Smart. Listen,
I think it's, No, I think that it's also for when a block is disappointing, okay, we have to work, we have to find solutions. We don't, I think it's a mistake to accept the quality of a third wine. No, we have to think, we have to work, we have to do everything to improve the quality and to think what we can change to make Chateau Margaux with this block.
The tannins are just wonderfully refined. Like I said, refinement with power and long. That's for me the tannins are finer in the Grand Vin than the Pavillon Rouge.
Yeah, I think when I taste the Chateau Margaux compared to Pavillon Rouge, in the middle palate and the end, also I feel like a second wave, you know, of flavors, of power, and the wine is more intense at the end than in the middle. So really the aftertaste is really wonderful with Chateau Margaux. And the tannins, yes, a little bit finer, more integrated, and more floral, as you said, more flowers, more elegance in the nose.
Okay, listen, Philippe, that was great to taste with you, and the wine showed beautifully. And thanks for your comments on the vintage.
Thank you.
You know, it really makes sense. It's Bordeaux, you know, a trilogy. I was trying to remember when there was last a trilogy, maybe 88, 89, 90, but I can't think of.
Yeah, we saw that, but I think we know that 88 is probably not at the same level as 88, 9, and 90.
That's true.
So maybe in 10 years we'll see that one of the three is not at the same level. But no, we think that
I don't think so.
We really have three vintages in a row at the same level of quality. I think it was different style, not exactly the same, but I think probably for the first time we have really three vintages exceptional.
I think you're right. Well, congratulations. Send my best to everyone at the Chateau. And félicitations, great wines.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Hopefully we can see you at the Chateau soon. Okay.
Absolutely.